So Vinland Saga chapter 201 has dropped, and it is only 8 pages long. It is one of the shortest chapters of the entire manga's run, not to mention the fact that not only does it not follow up on the cliffhanger of the last chapter with Hild, it also does not feature any prominent Vinland Saga characters in this 8-page run. So what is this 8 pages? Why have this chapter? What is it? Well, I think that this chapter is going to be very, very important moving forward and actually confirms a couple of theories that a few different Vinland Saga fans have had throughout the run of the Vinland arc. I don't know if you guys remember, but if you go back and reread, like volume 13 came out not too long ago, and I reread through it, reading the Vinland arc kind of from the beginning, chapter by chapter, you kind of forget things as they come out, but if you read it all at once, some material kind of stands out a little bit more than the rest. And one thing that the Vinland arc has been doing is every once in a while, it'll cut to some shots of rats that are on the Norsemen ships as they come to Vinland, rats that are annoying people. And even in one of the main prominent chapters, Gudrid is chasing rats out of their house, out of the hut. She's saying there's fucking rats in here, get rid of them. Rats have been steadily in the background, forming their own plot line and own storyline, and we are finally getting the catharsis, or finally getting the payoff of what these little rats in the background have been doing, and essentially they are carrying disease. This chapter itself goes back to the territory of Markland, and if you guys remember, a few chapters back, maybe like 10 chapters back now, Markland's settlers had mysteriously disappeared. They went back to Markland to kind of check on that settlement. It's a little bit farther away than Vinland, or than the village of Arnid. And so Thorfinn went there when he heard news of people not responding or people not coming back from there. And when he went, everybody was gone. It was deserted, but the entire landscape had been pelted by arrows, and Native American arrows were everywhere. But there was no bodies to be found, no bloodshed to be found, just a mysterious disappearance of what could have potentially happened to these people. Now, regardless of the real historical background of maybe this event or things that have happened, I'm only going by the story of the manga of Vinland Saga, but this was a very strange thing to happen, because you would think if a war broke out somewhere, if a conflict broke out, there would be bodies, or there would be somebody with a story to tell, something, but there was nothing. And so it was kind of this mystery that was left in the background, and then the story shifted back over to the village of Arnid, and the shaman coming to confront Thorfinn, and then Ivyar cutting off his hand, and then all of that drama. So it kind of got pushed to the wayside a little bit. But in this chapter, it comes back into play. And one of the characters that we see in this chapter is, I can't remember his name, but he was the character that Thorfinn basically saved his life from getting beheaded by Canute. There was one chapter where Canute came back in the Vinland arc. It was a little bit of a flashback, and Thorfinn asked Canute to spare him if he comes with him to Vinland, and he'll be one of his crew members, or one of the members of, bringing things kind of back and forth. And so that's where this bearded guy comes from. I can't remember his name though. In this chapter, they said they were going to bypass Markland because nobody was there, but somebody was there this time. There was a Norseman there, and so they're just like, what the fuck? So they arrive, and the man is curled up in a hut, and he seems to be starving. They give him a piece of bread. He chows it down. And it's just kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, imagine how weird that would be. Everyone mysteriously disappeared. There's nobody to be found. And then one day there's just a dude there. Like, that's already scary in itself. And also, this guy was extremely superstitious before. So that doesn't come into play in the chapter, but that would be pretty funny if he thought it was like a ghost or something. I don't know. He mentions the birds possessed by dead spirits. And I think essentially what he means is that the birds were basically eating the remains of the tribe, and perhaps maybe that contributed to why there is no bodies anywhere. That's just part of the process of their bodies were decayed, rotted away, eaten by animals, they just kind of were left for dead. So something really, really bad happened here, and it recontextualizes what actually happened. From the Norseman perspective, they would think war and conflict, because that, again, of course, is the culture, and when you see something pelted with arrows, that's where their minds go. They don't even think to consider that the arrows are here not because of the result of a conflict, but because of a warning, because this is a sign to stay away. Do not come here. And the reason for that is there's nothing but plague and death to be found. and it has come from the rats. The rats that the Norsemen have brought over have carried a disease in which the natives of this land have no possible way. Their immune systems are not used to it. It's completely foreign to them, and so they fell prey to it very, very easily. They had an outbreak. There was a pandemic caused by rats. I don't know if this is actually connected to like the bubonic plague. I have no idea whatsoever, but it is a disease, and this is terrifying for a couple of reasons. One is that they're here now, so they could be exposed to it, but also they could be potentially immune to it in a way, or in a way that it wouldn't affect them with the same frequency or the same quickness as it affected the natives. And if they brought the rats there, the rats have also been brought to Arneed Village as well. And this is going to be dangerous in many, many different ways. Not the least of which is this is something you cannot defend against. So this is something that Thorfinn is absolutely not prepared to deal with. Not to mention the fact that he is already in the middle of trying to prevent Hild from doing whatever it is she is about to do. Again, in the last chapter, I don't think Hild was actually intending to kill Ivyar and Stark, but I do think she wanted to pose the threat of it in order to keep them in line. But when it comes to the shaman, I think the shaman would definitely be willing to do what he has to do, and that could create multiple conflict or having Hild need to fight back and defend herself in some way if something were to go down that way. So that is something that Thorfinn is more familiar with, that he's trying to stop, but he can't stop an outbreak. He can't stop a plague. There's no amount of talk no jutsu that can stop a plague. And so if that happens and the natives take this in a way, maybe they believe that the Norsemen, maybe they just straight up, think the Norsemen gave this to us. Maybe they take it as some kind of curse that's been prevented against them. Maybe it's something like, we allowed the Norsemen, we thought they were our friends, and this is how the world is repaying us. They're repaying us with disease and sickness to show us that this is something that we didn't want to do. Many, many things could possibly happen from this. And I think that this chapter being so short is basically the warning sign. It's letting you know, it's letting us know as the audience, one, what happened in Markland, but two, it's like, this, you are not ready. Like, you were not prepared for this. Like, you think that you have this own other thing happening over here, this own conflict that you're trying to resolve. Dude, the bigger problem hasn't even begun to strike yet, and it's about to. And really, I think this is an interesting direction for the story to go in, because I know a lot of people want to see like action sequences and fight scenes once again, but I really like throwing things at the characters and having them put in the absolute most disadvantaged position that they could possibly be in. So Thorfinn is already dealing with all the shit that he's dealing with right now, but what is he going to do when disease starts to spread? And is it actually going to affect the Norsemen as well? I'm a little bit concerned for Gudrid because she was the one chasing the rats out of the house, so she's pregnant right now. It wouldn't be a good thing for her to get sick. Although I don't think that Gudrid is really on the chopping block. I do think that some characters are probably going to die before the end of the series. Jarky Bacon did a fantastic video about evidence of why Hild is probably on the chopping block, so I think you guys should check that video out if you guys want to. I'll link it down below in the description. Go give him a sub as well. And I think that that's definitely a possibility. Einar, I think, is a possibility as well. I think Thorfinn will make it to the end of the series. I thought Gudrid would make it to the end of the series. This event makes me a little bit shakier on that, but I still think she's okay. I think she's going to be okay at least up until the birth. I don't know after that. But yeah, so I don't know, man. So I think that this is just a dangerous precedent. I hate that the chapter is so short, but I understand the intent behind it. It's a very short and sweet chapter just to let you know, boom, this is what happened in Markland. Prepare for this next. And it works as that. Anyways, guys, let me know what you thought of this chapter down below. Leave all your thoughts, comments, opinions, theories. Let me know what you think is going to happen next. I think this is pretty exciting. I can't wait to get some more Vinland Saga, man. But it sucks. I got to wait another month now. God damn it, that sucks. But anyways, let me know what you think, guys. Love you. Thumbs up the video, comment. It'll help it out in the algorithm. Also, subscribe if you want to stick around and see more. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll talk to you next time.